All right, when you are reading decimals or reading numbers, it's really important to make a place value chart that will help you understand what your number should be read as. So let's say our number is this number right here, and we're trying to figure out how to read this number. The best thing we can do is we can make a place value chart. When we make a place value chart, it helps us see exactly where we're going to put each number and what the value of each number is. So when we look at the decimal, this decimal point actually gets its own little place value right here. And then we have the ones, we have the tens, we have the the hundreds, not the sevens, hundreds. And then we have the thousands. Working the other direction, we have the tenths, hundredths, and we have the thousandths. Now, remember in class in the live lesson, I explained to you guys that usually numbers are grouped in sets of 3, and they are. So these 3 numbers are part of the ones, tens, hundreds families. Then over here, you'd have 3 numbers that are part of the thousands. And then it's kind of the same thing with your decimals. You've got tenths, hundreds, thousandths. And you read these numbers very similar to how you would read an actual number. So for instance, we know that this is 5 thousands. 5 thousands. Remember, if we were going to write that in expanded notation, we would be 5 times 1,000. We're not going to do all that this time, but we are going to go place value by place value. 5 hundreds. Sorry, 5,000. It's getting late. Macito's getting tired. Then we can look at these 3 grouped together because they're part of a family. They're read together. Okay? So we're going to look at this, and we don't say 700s, 2 tens, 1 1. We say 721. So this is the number 721. We're going to write it just like we would say it. 721. 21 is going to have a dash between it. Okay, we're going to put a comma. That decimal means and. A-N-D, and. So I'm going to write and. And just like we did with the ones, tens, and hundreds, we're actually going to group these 3 together. And we're going to say 506 thousandths. 506 thousandths. Wherever this last number lands, we're going to read it in that place value. So 5,721 and 506 thousandths. Couple things that you need to know. First of all, let's say you have a number that looks like this. Okay? If we do a place value chart, we know that this is tenths. We know that this is hundredths. Anything to the right of the decimal, if it ends in 0, we don't necessarily have to land in that place value. 5 tenths is actually the same as 50 hundredths. And I'm going to show you how I know that, okay? So 5/10 is also known as 5/10 this way, as a fraction. If we look at that, we could actually make that 1/2. 1/2 is the same as 5/10. 5 out of 10. Guess what? 50 is half of 100. So 50/100ths is the same as 5/10. So you can read that as 5/10 or 50/100ths. So let's practice a few of these. Let's do 1.21. The number form of this is written 1 and 21/100ths. Because when we do our place value chart, this is the hundredths, this is the tenths, and this is the ones. 1 and 21/100ths. You can read even larger numbers with decimals. So we could go on and say, okay, what about this? 5.387761. Well, it's really easy. When we work to the right of the decimal, we start with tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. Okay, sound familiar? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. It's the same thing, the opposite direction. So if we were to look at this, just like starting from the other side, there's 3 there and there's 38 there. We would say 5 and 38. Let me write the word 38,760. We landed in the 100,000ths, 100,000ths. Hope this little snippet helps you, and I'll talk to you soon.